Als allererstes würde ich den Michele Cinque nach vorne bitten. Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for
thank
this.
You for to the wonderful audience and to this amazing cinema. It's one of the most comfortable cinema I ever visit. So I will be glad to present all my films here. And thank you very much to Benedict and to all the crews, to Flo, to Christoph, of course, to all my mates, and now that have become some kind of a family for me after these 2 years of work. And thank you for making this happen. It was really amazing.
Okay, we start with the first question. Ist es in Ordnung, wenn wir auf Englisch reden? Wenn da Fragen, also wenn da Missverständnisse, also Unverständnisse kommen, dann melden und wir übersetzen das. Okay, danke. How did you get on the boat? And was this planned?
Just by me, actually. It was a strange story. I read the news that a group of young people was leaving Emden and just bought an old fishing vessel and just transformed it into a search and rescue vessel. They renamed it Juventa, and they were leaving Emden. This news arrived in late spring 2016 in Italy on 2 major newspapers, and when I read it, I was at my own place on Facebook, and I said, no way, I have to do this film. And so I phoned them directly, straightforward to Berlin office and asked them if there was somebody that was actually doing a film. And they said no, and I said, okay, I'm gonna do this film. But then started all the problematics. I arrived in Malta 3 days after, it was crazy because I was not supposed to go in the first mission. I asked to the Berlin team to be on the first mission because for me it was vital to have this feeling and to narrate the first encounter from an idea to the reality. And to me was really an historical moment, and so I said, if there is no first mission, there is no film. But then it was the decision of the crew at the end to take me on board, and they asked me to go on board just 15 minutes before leaving, and I had really few personal belongings and a few terabytes of hard drives, and so it was tough, but at the end we managed to take home all the materials needed for the film.
All right, that's quite interesting to know, I think, because it's what we have here is the result, but we don't know what is the work in the back, and I think this is also.
Yeah, actually, I was ready to go out from the ship with my luggage when Jakob, the founder, came to me and said, "Do you want to join?" Of course, I want to join. I'm here for that, yeah. And so okay. I was with them.
Thank you. We in the film and also through the film we see. Artistic perspective, like your artistic perspective through this film, you look at what is happening in the sea, in the Mediterranean Sea right now, and you have your focus on the crew and what is happening with the crew during this journey. And in the film we see another artist working with you there. Can you say something about his work too, about César de Fuli's work?
Yes.
Who is a Spanish photographer, yes. And we saw also his exposition. Maybe
yes,
you can tell a bit more.
Yes, César was vital in the project because we already on the ship were together, and we were become highly friend, and we started talking also on how to narrate these so strong images we were facing, and all this reality. And of course, he has another skill, which is photographing, and it's very different from filmmaking. He already started started doing exposition at mid 2016, and I mean, he got a huge success, and I'm so proud of his work, because after the ship, he managed on the ship to photograph one full rubber boat, 118 people, taking names, surnames, country of origin, and age of the people. So he portrayed an all rubber boat, which was never done before. And actually, he's tracing back these people in Europe. And now he managed to find 56 people of these 118. So, and he's traveling all over Europe to narrate their story. So he's trying to reconstruct, and he's actually succeeding in this, reconstruct the story of an old ship and an old rubber boat. And this is something that gives back the humanity. He won like the best prize for portrait photo in Europe, which is the Anne Taylor Prize at the National Gallery of London, the first prize. He won the Australian War Press photo. He was on the cover of Internazionale in Italy, which is one of the major newspapers, and or Le Courrier International in France. And so he was vital to me, because you saw that I think one of the most important part of the film is not the ship, but is when we go back to Sicily, because in that part you really feel somehow the people that were with me, that was the Captain Benedict and Cesar and Jakob Schoen, the founder, came out with really their fear, their feelings about how this story could never end up. You know, we were in that winter we were facing this so important question of how this can be evolving. Like, shall we stay 10 years more in the sea? And then the evolution was very dramatic, of course, but still that moment was, I think, important also in the fact of meeting with the people we rescued and seeing how they were living, and not just, you know, bringing back and handling to the Coast Guard, just seeing how the migration would affect them and their lives, and give a face and a story, and spend some time with them playing football or just normal time, you know. This was...
So you decided to do this film, which is now a document of a certain time, which was in 2016, which is already 2 years ago.
And 17.
And 17, okay. And what he's doing, it's still ongoing.
It's still ongoing. He's doing a lot of exposition all over the world, and it's still ongoing project.
Okay.
Yes, and about my perspective of the artistic work, I think I've tried to take out myself as much as possible, and to me, like, to leave the audience to really feel the story, and how I was a witness, and my camera was my skill, my gun, in my opinion. And my idea was to transmit this possibility of witnessing 2 years with these amazing people that were doing something, for me, unique and revolutionary, to start themselves on the first line and being the, you know, young people, and not give up in a world that seems impossible to change. And so this was, to me, and that's why, for example, I didn't edit all the interviews we made. We made tons of hours of interviews, but I didn't put it in the film, just not to stop the emotion of the whole narration.
Okay. Thank you. You have been an observer in all this situation. Yeah,
since day one, I tried to do a work in the observational style, and trying to avoid the too much movement of the camera, to choose a perspective and stay, and try to make the people that would watch the film really inside that scene and that particular moment.